Good afternoon. Kind of going back to Saturday, reviewing the film. I really thought we had a good week of preparation, and talking to the leaders and the captains yesterday, they thought that as well. Obviously, there's always a few things that you wish you could do a little bit better Monday through Friday, but the bottom line was we didn't execute well enough. Really in all three phases, and you start with the defense. We played really good at times on defense. In that game, we needed to play great. You're going to get into low-scoring games. You're going to get into high-scoring games, and you've got to find a way to stop them at a critical time. And they beat us on explosive plays, and unfortunately for us, some of their explosive plays were on their scoring drives. And so a little bit of that was probably our inability to tackle a few times and lose the cup, as well as their quarterback made some big-time plays and give him credit. Offensively, it's pretty simple. We didn't execute on third and fourth down. We had plays there, and whether it was a missed block, whether it was a misread, just not seeing whatever it was, the field, not seeing where the defenders were, what the pre-snap look was, and all of a sudden it changed post-snap. We didn't execute, and you're not going to win any games going what we did on third and fourth down. And then probably the area that we need to excel the most in is special teams. And I think we've got really good punt and kick returners. We didn't give them an opportunity. And so part of that is them doing a good job of kicking it out of the end zone, and us doing a better job of winning at the line of scrimmage on punt return to give Phillip a chance, and we didn't do those things. So that phase we have to win, and I appreciate our guys yesterday. If you'd ask our key special teams guys, they would have said, Coach, we lost that phase because we typically win that phase. So an even matchup is a loss for us. And so those are the things that we need to shore up this week. It is not panic time because we're only 3 games into it, but we know it's a time for us that we have to improve in all areas. And so I'm excited to see how the guys respond to adversity. We talked about the adversity that we're facing and have faced it before, and these guys need to attack it. So we've got the right leadership, we've got the right guys in the locker room to get it done. We just got to get better and continue to improve.
Coach, what was it that Tulane did defensively that kind of kept you guys bottled up?
The biggest thing they did physically is they tackled really well. Deuce didn't have those breakaway runs that we had been accustomed to. Part of that is really good tackling, and part of that is us not sustaining blocks. And then we had some guys open, and we just didn't see them. We've got to go through our progressions a little bit more and be patient with our progressions, because some guys came open late. A couple times guys came open late and there was somebody in our face, and other times guys came open late and we maybe just didn't see them. And we've got to probably be less conservative and be more aggressive. And that's something we got to keep pushing for.
That brings me to my next question. At Nebraska, Adrian was known as a playmaker. He made a lot of big plays. And with that came mistakes and turnovers. We all know that. Has he swung back too far, though, being too careful at this point?
Yeah, I would say without question, Fitz. And CK and I had a long meeting and visited with Adrian about it, and he would agree that he's got to cut it loose and rip it. And if a mistake's made, a mistake's made. But be aggressive in what you see and what you believe. And we've seen that in fall camp, and now we've just got to see it on a Saturday. And I know it's there. I know that he can do it. He doesn't want to make the mistake. I think we all know that. I think nobody wants to make the mistakes. But there's times where you just got to let it rip, and if something happens that's a negative play, we got to bounce back from it and get a stop on defense, or shoot, we're going to make some positive plays too.
Does this alter your approach to how you're handling the quarterbacks, and if he goes through the first half and does the same thing?
Yeah, not right now. That's a better question probably for Colin right now, but we still feel comfortable about that room. We have talented players in that room. Between Will and a young player in Jake Rubley, we feel confident in that room, and so we'll continue to distribute those reps.
How has Adrian kind of bounced back since Saturday?
Well, I had my normal meeting with he and the QBs yesterday, talking some of the things Oklahoma does defensively, and them picking my brain and me picking their brain about looks and stuff. Collectively, as an offense, we had a really good practice yesterday. If there was one downfall from last week on Thursday, I think it was Thursday, might have been Wednesday, too many balls were on the ground in some of our pass game stuff. And that wasn't necessarily the QB's fault all the time. Sometimes it was a drop. Sometimes it was a misrun route. But yesterday was really sharp offensively. Not many balls on the ground, and it was a good day. So bouncing back, I don't think would be an issue for Adrian. Honestly, I really don't, because he's a really confident, mature kid.
One question I've had kind of been wondering about all season is Will Howard's in an interesting spot where, Jake is the backup in certain situations just because of the redshirt situation. Yep. But how does he prepare week to week? Is he still going into each game thinking he's the emergency starter?
Yes, I think he is. Last week was an interesting week for Will because he missed some time for personal reasons, but he's back, and he was back late in the week last week, and I don't want to get into that, but everything's okay. And so we're going to give him more reps than we did last week, just simply because he missed a couple of practices last week. But we've got great confidence in Will. I think the team does as well, and Jake's continuing to improve. And so, like I said, we'll keep. Adrian's going to be the one, unquestioned one right now. But we'll always continue to distribute those reps between those other two guys as they improve, because we also know that I know for sure, because in my last couple of years here, we've always gone to the number 2 because of an injury.
Brent Venables played at Kansas State, knows a heck of a lot about this school. Does that make it any harder going up against a coach who has that much familiarity with the place?
It might be harder for Brent. Always was harder for me when I go against school that I went to. I think there's some of those feelings like that, but it doesn't matter. It's what happens on the field between the two teams and the players, and got a tremendous amount of respect for Brent. He's a phenomenal football coach, a great human being. I've had a chance to be around him a number of times, and he's a great football coach, and I think it's a credit to him for waiting around for the right opportunity. He had plenty of opportunities when he was at Clemson under Dabo, but he waited around for the right opportunity, and he's in a great situation.
Coach, obviously it's a little different situation as opposed to 2020, but as far as the games go, going to Oklahoma after a disappointing loss, a lot of the same guys are still on the team. Do you think there's any sense of extra confidence or just feelings amongst the team?
No, there's not enough guys from 2020. There's a handful for sure, but there's not enough, and that was such a strange year. I mean, there was nobody in the stands at all, and so no, I mean, some of our guys just being there, I think, will help, but it's going to be a different crowd this year.
And then as far as the offensive line goes, not a ton of rotation last week. Are you just kind of in that spot where you have your 6 or 7 guys that you like?
We need to rotate more. I talked to Coach Riley about that. We need to get some more guys in so that we don't wear down on the O-line. And didn't do that last week, and it's something that I know we need to do. And get, especially Carver. Carver needs to play. Carver's done some really good things. Dawson Del Forge, I think, needs to play a little bit. We got Liney in there. And we can be better up front. We missed some things up front that Riles and I both agree. And he asked Beebs and some Duff and the guys that have been around, that some stunts and things that Tulane did that we didn't pick up, that we've got a seasoned group there that I anticipate those guys seeing those things better and picking them up.
Question I have is regarding Nate Matlack. We asked after the game. Any update on him?
Didn't practice yesterday. Won't practice today. So lower body injury. We have not ruled him out. The medical staff has not ruled him out for this week. So he's going through progression. I know he was running today, so that's positive. It's not like he's in a boot and can't do anything. He is running today, but we are not practicing him today. But we're still hopeful.
I know you have your captains, but is there any couple players that have been extra vocal this week and trying to bounce back from that setback?
Just in general, all the time Seth Porter is. Not necessarily this week, every week Seth Porter is, and Nick Allen really is. I mean, those two guys have been tremendous leaders. Gilly has always been a tremendous leader for us. Echo, Julius have done a nice job. Josh has done a nice job. We've got a core group of guys that are on our leadership council that are not afraid to step up and say something. Our captains are obviously really, really good, but that's a thing that I feel comfortable with. And I know we're going into a tough situation, guys, as far as coming off a loss and going against Oklahoma, who's a terrific football team. And we need to improve. We need to continue to get better and have an opportunity in the fourth quarter to win the game. But I like the makeup of our guys as far as maturity and as far as handling, whether it's a letdown or handling situations. We've got a good group of seniors and good group of leaders.
Just before fall camp when we talked, I remember safety was a question mark at that point. Does it feel pretty reassuring right now the way that they're playing?
Yeah, we feel better. We got some good snaps out of TJ last week. TJ missed some time and missed a game. Him playing has helped us. We've split the snaps between Drake and Sincere. Sincere's been banged up, so he hasn't, I don't think, played to the level of what I know Sincere can play, and part of that is he's been banged up. We need to try to get him continued healthy, but he's not out. Josh has been really, really good, and so Kobe's been good, and we're continuing to work. VJ Payne's going to be a factor. I'm glad he got a chance to start that first game because as the season progresses, he's going to be a big factor for us.
Has there been a past incident of a quarterback confidence that you've had to coach up that ability to fit it into tight?
Well, I think you always have that when you have somebody that's new to your program, new to a system. Doesn't matter where I've been. It's having success in a situation, and oftentimes it is a practice that leads to a game, and maybe this case it's got to be a game that leads to the next one in a game because he's got a world of ability, and we all know it, and he knows it, and the players know it. So he just, like I said, we just got to trust in what we've seen for the 6.5, 7+ weeks that we've watched it at practice, and let it rip because he's got the talent.
And you mentioned O-line reps. Wide receivers have seemed like they've been limited to the 3 starters. Are you looking for more reps for more guys?
Well, that was one of the philosophical changes that Coach Klein made that I agreed with when he asked about it and made it, and that you could go all the way back to bowl prep. What had been in the past that CK asked me and said, here's what I'd like to do. And I'd like to make it an earned thing where I'm going to play the best guys unless they can't. And I agreed with his thought on that, and it wanted him to take the reins. And we did a great job of that in the bowl game. And it was Landry, and Landry got hurt, so then Cade became the guy. So there's enough guys getting those reps, but the top 3 are going to be the top 3 because they've proven week in and week out of practice that they're the best ones. And so those 3 kids, we've got to find ways to get the ball to those 3 guys. Malik didn't get enough touches in my mind. Phillip didn't get enough touches. Cade got a few. Cade made plays when he had the opportunity. And so those 3 guys, along with Deuce, and especially we know how people are defending Deuce, we've got to find a way to get the ball to those 3 guys.
And where's RJ Garcia in terms of?
He's probably the 4th or the 5th. And part of that is you look at the guys that are in front of him, and RJ's a really good player, and RJ understands it. You look at the guys in front of him, there's a lot of snaps of experience of those guys in front of him.
Looking back at the film offensively, what did you think of the blocking across the board, wide receivers, tight ends, fullbacks?
Just okay. Needs to be better. Just we could have popped some things, and maybe we didn't sustain a block. Give them credit. They got off blocks, and we did pop something. Maybe we didn't hold the block at a tight end or a wide receiver. It's just collectively we have to be better. We didn't have – when we're good, we're getting, double-digit explosive plays, and we had 3. And so we're not going to win very many games not being explosive with our run game and our pass game. And oftentimes, you guys know it's been Deuce. Well, when they shut Deuce down, we've got to push the ball downfield or get the ball in space to those 3 kids I mentioned so that they can make some things happen.
And your thoughts on Dylan Gabriel?
Tremendous football player. watched their 3 games, followed him when he was at UCF, but watched the 3 games and very confident, very strong arm, very good athlete. He ran one for 60-plus yards, I think, against Nebraska, and he's a really good player.
You haven't had him for the entire year because of injury, but how confident do you feel with Sean Robinson being gone with guys like Desmond Purnell on the 2 deep?
You know, Dez has made that situation a lot better. And let me address Sean. Sean was not kicked off this football team. Sean left for personal reasons that he needed to step away. I've got really good respect for that young man, and it was not a bad situation. I didn't want that to seem like on Saturday night, because it just kind of blindsided me, and that's okay, that it was something that went wrong. Tremendous amount of respect for Sean. He stepped away, and I supported that, him stepping away. He was not kicked off. He hasn't been with us for a while, so Dez has taken all those reps for the last 3+ weeks, and Dez has done a really nice job, and it's been a great spell for Khalid. And Dez is one of our better special teams guys. He cares so much. He's a Kansas kid, wants to do great. He's just a redshirt freshman with a bright, bright future, but I'm excited about Dez's progression.
Chase Hageman with EMA Online. DJ Giggins he had 5.1 yards per carry on 9 attempts. Can we maybe expect to see him take on more responsibility in the rushing game?
Yeah, hopefully. We got to have the ball a little bit more, and we got to do something with the ball. So we're getting some rhythm so that we can get guys in and out. He had a lot of those reps when Deuce was out, but that was the thing that was difficult for us in general offensively. We didn't have great rhythm, so it was hard for us to get sustained drives, and that's something that when we do that, I'm hoping DJ does become more a part of the offense.
What situations do you think he'll strive in most?
Well, there's nothing the kid can't do. He catches the ball really well. He's a downhill runner. He's got speed on the edge. He's a redshirt freshman as well that didn't play last year, that's still learning. And he's learning from the best in the country, in my mind, in Deuce Vaughn. So we're excited about where he's at and know he's going to continue to improve.
Just back to that Sam linebacker, do you need to see more out of Crew Jackson on special teams before he gets on the field
Probably,
more?
but Crew made a terrific play on kickoff. Got off a block, forced the guy out of bounds, made a big-time play. Crew's continuing to improve. We're just trying to flip him between Sam Backer and Will Backer, and he's continuing to develop as a young player. But I was excited for Crew because he made a big-time play on kickoff.
You talked last week about defensively that you guys are doing some different things. Mm-hmm. Is the biggest thing just having more of the Sam linebacker, more of a linebacker?
Yeah, we did sub it out a little bit on Saturday and move Josh to that spot and had VJ come in to look a little bit more like what we did last year with Reggie. But from a pass rush standpoint, from a run game standpoint, you're better off having that bigger body in. And what everybody can see, we're the most thin is at linebacker, and especially when Nate was healthy, where we were probably the best depth-wise was at defensive end, so there was no reason to have Khalid be a rotate guy with Felix, Nate, Pick, Stuff, Mott, and so we moved him and said, this is what we're going to do. And so that's been something where we've tried to make sure we keep Khalid in the game. Sometimes we blitzed him some. Josh Hayes is one of the best man coverage guys in the slot I've ever been around. That helps us. That's where we had Reggie last year. It helps us because Josh can do those things as the position that Reggie did.
How do you feel like Khalid is adjusting to the full-time?
We all know he missed most of fall camp, so it's been a process. But from game 1 to game 3, and I keep talking to him and asking him, he's finally starting to feel stronger because you guys would know this better than I do. Been about exactly a year since he was hurt, because it was Yeah, it was Nevada, I thought. So it's been about a year, and that's typically what we've seen with that injury, that it's about a year. So he's feeling stronger, and I know he played better in week 2 than he did week 1, better than week 3 and week 2.
You've spoken a lot in the last 2 availabilities about the need to overcome adversity. Adrian's obviously faced a lot of that. Can you explain how much confidence it gives you that he's going to be able to bounce back after a rough game?
Just watching him, the way he carries himself, the way he works, the way he does things after practice, the way he communicates with Coach Klein, the offensive guys. Once again, the guy's played a lot of football. Has had adversity playing the game, and he's in a new environment. Let's not forget he's replacing a guy that was a pretty dang good player in Skylar Thompson, and that's not probably the easiest thing to do. And so I want to let the kid breathe a little bit and encourage him to cut it loose. But it's not the easiest situation to come into as well when you missed all the spring ball and got to replace a guy that is on an NFL roster that was beloved here. I mean, the kid was a dude, and Sky is one of my favorite guys, and he's proven it at that next level. So I want to give Adrian that belief for starters, and because I've seen it. CK has seen it. The team has seen it. And I don't want to put so much added pressure on him. I think he already has had that at his previous place.
Explain how the process goes of swinging back towards being able to cut it loose in a game-like situation, and how that maybe is different than doing it in practice compared to Saturdays.
Just not having that fear of failure. Sometimes you're not going to be perfect. There's not one of us in anything that we do professionally or for an athlete that you're going to be perfect. And he's going to make some mistakes, and that's okay. And we gotta let him be him and not anything other than himself. And when he's himself, what we've seen, he can be a really special talent. Let's push him to be that.
How much differently have you seen Oklahoma playing on defense this season under a new coaching staff?
Quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of different defenses in the 3 games that they played, and I think part of that is Brent trying to find out what his identity is. What's his best personnel? It's hard to figure it out in the spring when you're just trying to learn people's names, and then you get into fall camp and you're trying to incorporate your new guys and see what you have. Brent knows more defense than most everybody in the country because of his reputation and his resume. So I think he's trying to do and put guys in different positions to see what they excel best in. He's also understands that it's a young season, it's a long season, that you want to make sure that you have a couple of different answers if something goes awry, whether that's an injury, a performance or something. So we've seen a lot of different looks in 3 games, so we're not quite sure what we're going to get. That doesn't surprise me just because I think he's trying to put his team in the best position moving forward.
Coach, as far as the tight end position goes, 2 guys we've seen there for the most part are Ben Sinnott and Sammy Wheeler.
Yep.
Are their roles pretty interchangeable?
Yeah, they do. They can play a lot of different things. And Will Swanson's the 3rd there, and I think we need to see Will a little bit more. It just depends on, are we going to be in a 2 tight end set or 1 tight end set? If it's 2 tight ends, we need to see Will a little bit more. If it's 1, then probably not as much. Those guys can split it. And then just based on the 21 personnel stuff, Jax is back healthy now. Christian's doing some good things. We don't have enough snaps based on the amount of personnel to the question that was asked a while ago of having the 3 wideouts in the game. Well, then you're only going to have 1 other guy other than the running back, and we just got to pick and choose the times we use a fullback or a tight end.
As far as the quarterback run game goes, we've seen Adrian, whenever that is called, have some success. Is there any emphasis on maybe trying to get to that this week?
Yeah, there always is going to be with what we do. It's been that way since I arrived here, and Colin, obviously, you guys know, loves the run game with the quarterback. So it's definitely a big part of our plan.